Shelley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Thursday, October 6th. So today we do have that Aquarian moon that went void, of course, last evening, shifting into Pisces energy at 8:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have a couple of aspects that the moon in Aquarian energy will continue to make as we build towards that Piscean energy. But of course, with the moon void, of course, we are very shaky, very indecisive, very unstable, and questioning a lot of the things that we were certain of just a couple of hours ago. As I've been speaking about in this week's daily forecasts, very strange that we're having the moon be void, of course, for the majority of the nights here this week. And again, adding to a very discombobulated sleep state and dream state. This is going to be another one of those mornings where we wake up very uncertain of whether it is that we actually slept and trying to decode some of the dream material that we get downloaded with. Now, our dreams are going to intensify as we move into this Pisces energy. We are moving into the last couple of days where Pluto is currently stationed, preparing to go direct. And of course, we are just days away from the full moon in Aries taking place. There's a lot of wacky energy going on in the cosmos as of late. And today we are definitely going to experience another shift with the moon moving out of this Aquarian energy and into Pisces energy. Of course, Pisces energy is a water sign, very emotional, very transformative. We want to kind of take it easy. We want to move into lava land. There isn't really a want, need, and desire to deal with the details of our reality. And of course, we're just trying to kind of align with our spiritual selves, with our intuition, with our higher self. There is a lot of imagination, a lot of fantasy, a lot of creativity that can definitely come into the higher realm of our intelligence. And of course, from that, we can kind of pick out the silver linings and the cryptic codes that we are currently being downloaded with. So there are 11 different aspects here today, and 9 of them involve the moon. While the moon is still in Aquarian energy, but also void, of course, we do have an interaction with Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication, who is still trying to wake up from the retrograde, trying to gain clarity. We have Mercury in its place of power in Virgo energy, so we are still trying to piece things together to focus in on the details of what has taken place over this last month and really just kind of get ourselves up to speed. The Aquarian energy interacting with the Virgo energy right now can be super good for kind of gaining a insight, a vision of what it is that we want to be working towards, again, in that visionary energy, that observer mentality, and we can bring that energy into the lower level intellect that Mercury rules over. And because we are in Virgo energy, we have a high probability, a high opportunity of being able to bring to life some of the thoughts, some of the ideas, some of the epiphanies that were currently being kind of alluded to. And with this Mercury energy in Virgo, it really is mind over matter. It definitely is aligning with the right vision, the right dream, the right perspective, the right understanding, so that we can go ahead and we can actually manifest whatever it is that needs to come to life in order for us to build upon. The moon is going to have an interaction with Pluto, the great transformer, who is retrograde in Capricorn energy, again, preparing to go direct in just a couple of days. The moon interacting with Pluto in this way would suggest that we are making some pretty amazing progress in being able to sort out our thoughts, sort out our feelings. Of course, this Pluto energy is the great transformer on the psyche level, and we have to kind of reflect back, revise over some of the painful situations in our lives, some of the painful experiences that we're having a hard time making peace with, and really kind of reframe what we can pluck out as far as silver linings go. That's where the transformation is definitely taking taking place, when we are able to see the situations that we've already experienced from a different set of eyes, a different perspective of understanding. And when that shift takes place in the psyche and we can kind of reframe our experiences, our emotions follow suit, freeing us up, letting go of a lot of the pain, of the trauma, of the fear, and from that, really turning it into motivation, determination, and inspiration to overcome some of the obstacles, some of the negative situations in our lives, and really take our power back, really step into a new place of authority, a new place of control over our destiny, over our future. And of course, right now, because we have been in this period where there's so many planets in retrograde, we've been learning a lot about our future due to processing our past. The moon is going to make a very awkward interaction with the sun. The sun, of course, in Libran energy, trying to shine a bright light on where it is that we need to achieve stability and balance, peace and harmony, what it is that we need to do in the run of our day in order to really focus on happiness and joy and love and pleasure, even if it means just focusing in on the little things that we have the attitude of gratitude for. Doesn't mean that we're making peace and we're totally accepting our current circumstances and that we are, willing to sit in them and not make any changes. It's just a different perspective when we have to really tap into the vibrations and frequencies of love and happiness and joy for the present moment in order to create a different reality for ourselves. That's how we actually manifest. But this particular interaction, anytime that we have the moon and the sun interacting, it's like the old parts of ourselves meet the futuristic parts of ourselves. And what we're left with is the present self here in this present moment, really kind of sorting things out to see what is working for us, what is not, what we have to let go of, what it is we have to embrace, what it is that we have to make peace with and let go and surrender in our past in order to create the space, the time, and the energy for new manifestations of inspiration and passion to actually be built. Now, this is likely going to show us a bird's eye view from our lives. Of course, this Aquarian energy that we've been sitting in is the observer of the zodiac. We're able to kind of emotionally detach and see our lives from the bird's eye view. And looking down, we can see different perspectives and different understandings from some of the situations that have taken place. And from this, it's likely going to illuminate the extremes, the chaos, the confusion, the unhappiness, the discontent for our current situations, which of course is a very important perspective and awareness to have because that's where we identify the problem and that's where we come up with solutions. This is Libran energy, so we're willing to open up our minds and our heart space to compromise, to negotiate, and with Mercury in its place of power in Virgo, we are all about zooming in on the problem so that we can provide ourselves with a quick fix, with a long-term fix, and just with solutions, period. Now, the last aspect that the moon in Aquarius makes before shifting into Piscean energy is a semi-square, a little bit of a tension point with Chiron, the wounded healer. This is definitely, I'm going to say, emphasizing where it is that we have some work to do in our emotions, in our mental plane, in order to heal certain wounds that we just got illuminated to, likely because we are examining where it is that we are living in extremes, where it is that the chaos and confusion actually is, where it is that the unhappiness, the displeasure, the discontentment is alive and well in our lives. Again, very important to identify, but it also kind of, makes us a little bit squeamish, a little bit fearful, a little bit paranoid, a little bit insecure. And of course, that's what Chiron, the wounded healer, is here to do. Illuminate the wounds, illuminate the pain, illuminate the trauma so that we can essentially zoom in on it and figure out how it is that we're going to grow, how it is that we're going to improve, how it is that we are going to heal. So that is at 7:26 a.m. We lock into this Piscean energy 8:48 a.m., again, Eastern Standard Time. And we kind of sit in this Pisces energy for a couple of hours before it makes its first aspect. And the first aspect is going to be a positive one with the true node. So this tells me that we're kind of sitting, let's just look at it this way. The moon in Aquarius illuminates a lot of the not so nice things that we're thinking, that we're feeling, and illuminates for us where it is that we have some not so nice thoughts and feelings about our situation. Again, illuminating for us what needs our attention, what needs to be healed. And we sit in this funk, and then we move into the moon in Pisces, which of course is very healing because it is the water energy, and water energy is the transformative element that we need in order to, put things in the past where they belong, where endings and closures are needed in order to free us up to actually move forward. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and it's when we bring things full circle. And although it may be semi-difficult to do a deep dive into the depths of these particular thoughts and emotions and memories, we have to bring them into our awareness. The Pisces energy is the unconscious becoming conscious, because we can't address anything if it remains in the unconscious realm. We have to bring it into consciousness, bring it into our awareness, really zoom in on what it is that, is asking for our attention in order to heal it. So we are very intuitive in Piscean energy. We are very hypersensitive because of it. So we can get overwhelmed and really just want to curl up in bed and just avoid life altogether. But we're very imaginative. We are in touch with our intuition. We are, really just kind of empathetic and compassionate. And we have a tendency to see everything kind of where everything is connected instead of where everything is divided. And because we're in a stage right now where we're evaluating our past experiences in order to determine how it is that we're going to move forward, there is this beauty of being able to connect the dots, especially with our pain and our trauma. That's where the spiritual life lessons are. We're here to dive into the depths of the darkness of the human experience because that's how we learn. If we were able to actually learn from a state of happiness and joy and unconditional love, we would have stayed in source because that's where we come from. We come to Earth School because of its polarization, because of its duality, because of its pain and its suffering. And right now, in this Piscean energy, we're really here to kind of elevate our awareness, enlighten ourselves, connect the dots on why certain events had to happen and be able to pluck the silver linings out of that. So the moon kind of interacting with the true node, which is our destiny point, the path that we need to get on in order to fulfill our soul and spirit's mission here, we're making some progress. And we're likely doing that, again, by examining where the problems are and where some problems need to be fixed. But we're also doing it because we have a different perception, we have a different understanding, we have a different level of empathy, we have a different level of just being able to look at situations from a more compassionate, more loving perspective. And of course, having our intuition just be super strong and illuminate to us where, the lessons are. It's just a totally different spin, a totally different take on the funk that we've been sitting in. And of course, reveals to us what it is that we need to do moving forward. And this is definitely the energy that we're getting from the moon interacting with the true node in this way. The moon goes ahead and kind of bumps into Jupiter, Jupiter being the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, who is currently retrograde at the very beginning degrees of Aries as it prepares to dip back into Piscean energy at the end of October. Go ahead and listen to October's energy forecast if you haven't already. Download your zodiac forecast so that you know where this is specifically showing up in your life and stay ahead of the energy. But basically, we are going to have a huge magnifying glass put on our emotions with this energy, and a caution here. Because we're in Piscean energy, because we're hypersensitive, it isn't out of the realm of possibility that we are feeling so intensely, we're feeling so much, we're feeling so many things at all one time that it literally pushes us to want to kind of numb, pushes us to want to disassociate, pushes us to just want to bury our head in the sand and not deal with life. And although that might be a coping mechanism that many of us dive into, really isn't doing much for the productivity that we need to be doing right now in order to sort through some of these thoughts and emotions. So Jupiter, he tends to turn the volume all the way up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling, and not saying that this is, illuminating all of the bad parts. It definitely has the possibility to illuminate the good parts, and we can be over elated and we can be manic, if you will, and overly excited and overly compassionate and overly empathetic. But bottom line, we're a little bit extra. Okay. So whichever pole, I should say, that you decide to align with, it is going to be amplified and magnified by Jupiter. But basically, Jupiter is here to show us where it is that we have grown, where it is that we have improved, where it is that we've had to shift our beliefs, where it is that we've had to align with a new path in order to receive blessings and abundance. And in the same token, we're in Libra season, which means that there's two sides to the story. There are two sides to the scale that we're having to really actively work towards, balancing out, which means that we are just as likely to see where it is that growth is still needed, where it is that improvement is still needed, where it is that, we're not believing in ourselves enough, or we're not confident, or we're not optimistic, and therefore where it is that we're blocking our blessings. So depending on the energy and the funk that you're sitting in right now, this could amplify all the good, or it could magnify all the bad. The moon gives us a little bit of help by making a very positive interaction with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty and worth and pleasure, who is in her place of power in Libran energy. And of course, this is Venus's season. She's in her place of power in Libran energy. She's the ruler over Libra season. And the Piscean energy, and of course, Neptune ruling over Piscean energy, is the higher octave of what Venus is capable of. So Venus kind of keeps us connected to this egoic realm and what it is that we need as far as love and worth and value, stability, assurity goes in our physical lives, in our 3D realm. But Pisces energy and Neptune energy connects us to the ethereal realms, to the higher forms of intelligence. This is where we get our inspirations from, our insight from. This is where, we truly kind of process the emotional field. And so a lot of the time, we are gaining insight. We're gaining a lot of intuitive feelings. We're gaining a lot of vision. We're gaining a lot of creativity, a lot of imagination, a lot of fantasy, a lot of dreams through this Piscean energy. And then we bring it into the physical body and we're able to actually bring it to life. Venus, the goddess, is the portal, right? All women have the portal between their legs to give birth to a creation. And, even the masculine energies are very important to be balanced out with this feminine divine energy in order for creation to be in its wholeness. So we are essentially sitting with ourselves, figuring out what it is that we want to create, what it is we want to give birth to, what it is that's needed in our physical lives in order to feel safe, to feel secure, to feel whole, to feel balanced within ourselves, having that worth, having that value, having that confidence and self-esteem within ourselves, but also what it is that we need to change within ourselves to feel good about some of the disconnects that we've been feeling in our personal relationships as well. This is a positive interaction though, so this means that we're gaining insight. We are gaining clarity. We are really feeling very strongly on what it is that we need to do in our lives. And this is great because, again, once you identify the problem, you can come up with a solution. The sun is going to make an interaction with the true node in such a way as I feel like we will be gifted with an opportunity to make a little bit of a move in life. Now, what does that mean? First of all, it can mean a baby step. Second of all, it can mean just aligning with a decision, with a choice that we've been debating upon. Of course, we're in Libra season. We're highly indecisive at this point. Mercury just came out of a retrograde, which means that our minds are changing, especially with what it is that we thought we wanted at the end of August. Maybe we're changing course of desire, course of inspiration, course of direction. That's okay, by the way. It's okay to change your mind. It's okay to change things up. That's what is, makes the experience, that's what makes us our authentic selves, that what makes us on our soul's mission. Anywho, the sun being in Libran energy is shining a bright light on what it is that we need to do in our lives to achieve the balance, to make peace, to make harmony, to find happiness and joy and contentment and pleasure in our lives, even if it's in the smaller details of our circumstances. The true node is our soul's path. That's the path that we need to be on to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. But this interaction seems like there's something popping off in our exterior realm, giving us the opportunity to align with a choice, align with a path, align with a decision, to see very clearly the next move, the next step that we have to make in our plan in order to achieve balance and peace and harmony and love and all those lovely Libran qualities. And of course, we experience what needs to be kind of established in our lives by experiencing the dualistic polar opposite of stability, of peace, of balance, of harmony, of happiness, of joy. I feel like many of us have been in that funk for quite a while, so we should be gaining a little bit of clarity here on how it is that we're going to be moving forward. And should the opportunity present itself, I would say take that action, take that baby step, take that opportunity to align with one decision, one choice point over the other. The moon is going to make a positive interaction with Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener who is retrograde in Taurus energy. It's supposed to be showing us where in our lives we're overly attached to the materialistic realm, to possessions, to relationships, to titles, whatever the case may be. Our egoic identity is so wrapped up in some of these aspects that we wouldn't know who it is that we are if some of these aspects were stripped away from us. And this is a lesson in detachment. And I feel like because this is a positive aspect, it means that Uranus is tapping into the positive qualities of his particular energy, which means that he's the great awakener. He is awakening us to a new perspective, a new want, a new need, a new desire. He is shaking us to our core to wake up and see where it is that we have to open up our mind and be a little bit more open to change. He is showing us where it is that, you know what, new information is coming in, and that's going to change the course of action for us. He's also showing us where it is that we have to kind of fight against our own systems to free ourselves, create a little bit more freedom and independence and liberation from some of these constructs, some of these attachments that have been too intertwined with who it is that we currently are, too much of our identity. And you know, we are going to have epiphanies. We are going to have aha moments. This is like expect the unexpected, but because Uranus is retrograde, we have to expect the unexpected shift that's taking place in our psyche and in our emotions. Our shakeup right now, our aha moments, our epiphanies are coming from the inner transformation that we're going through, not external events. So we're definitely making some progress here. And because the moon is in Pisces, we're able to align with our higher self. Our intuition is very strong. We're able to kind of lose ourselves in imaginary land and fantasy land to grasp a vision and a dream on what it is that we want to create for ourselves. But while we are actively trying to piece that dream together, Uranus is shaking us up on the inner realm in order to see where it is that we are blocking spontaneity, we're blocking change, where it is that we're blocking growth, blocking improvement. Why? Because we're overly attached to our physical realm, to possessions, to people, to titles, to keeping things the way that they've always been, even though we are already identifying that they're no longer working for us anymore. So this is going to be a shakeup in the inner realm for us to get a grip on what it is that we're actually praying for, what it is we actually want to create, where it is that we got to get out of our own damn way and detach from some of these things that we're just afraid to death of losing, because we're afraid of the change that we have been essentially praying for. It's a mind F, but that's what we need at this point. We're going into a very, very transformative weekend here. And the transformation is already beginning in our inner realm. The moon is going to make a harmonious interaction with the sun. Now, again, like we talked about, any time that the moon and the sun are making any kind of aspect, there's an overlap. Past versus future, leaving us in this present moment to make a choice, to make this observation on our past experiences, what we've learned, what we've gained, what we've kind of incurred, if you will, as far as spiritual lessons and karma goes, and what it is that we have to kind of surrender, let go of, draw the line in the sand, leave that in the past. Why? Because the sun is illuminating what it is that we're striving for, what it is we want to work for. what it is that we want more of in our life. The moon is our emotions, our memories, our unconscious self. The sun is our life force energy. It's our self here in this 3D realm, the ego self. It's where we have to shine a bright light on the qualities and characteristics that we need to learn, that we need to embody in order to kind of align with the mission, the purpose that we feel inspired to pursue. And what we're left with is, again, this present moment self, being able to clearly see where it is that, we know we have to boss up to these roles and responsibilities. We know that we have to really embody these qualities and characteristics if we stand a chance in hell of bringing new elements to life. But then we look at ourselves, how we got here, what it is that we've learned, what it is that we're afraid of losing, what it is that we're, essentially having to leave behind if we want to move forward, if we want to create this new reality. So lucky for us, the Piscean energy, water energy, the sun being in Libra energy, which is an air energy, this carries a beautiful potential to be able to have electricity sparking in our creative minds, in our spiritual aha moments, in order for us to kind of see where it is that things are ending in order for things to begin. Again, Pisces energy, what needs to end in order for something new to be created? Where does something need to come full circle, ending of chapter, ending of life lesson, in order for us to dive into something new? And the Piscean energy with the Libran energy, very, very inspired, very motivated, very determined when we're tapping into the positive aspects of these energies, because we're able to kind of recognize the spiritual lessons, bring that into the mental plane, bring that into our emotions, balance those inner scales like the Libran energy wants us to do, so that we can engage the physical body in going ahead and start making moves in our physical realm to align with what it is that's we've already kind of come to a realization about, that we want, that we need, that we desire in our inner realm. So here's where we have the most important aspect of the day. It is at the very end of the day. It's between Mercury and Pluto. So Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, information and communication, who is in Virgo energy, its place of power, still struggling to really, wake up to its full consciousness from this retrograde, piecing together all that has taken place over this past month, really focusing in on the details of what is broken, what needs to be fixed, where it is that we have to do more to take care of ourselves, to return ourselves to a complete whole being. Now, Pluto, the great transformer who is retrograde in Capricorn, is showing us where it is that the inner transformation needs to take place first and foremost to push us into our place of power, to take control over our lives, to stop giving our power away to outside external elements, especially other people. But the power here is that Pluto does the greatest transformation in our psyche. Mercury rules over the mental plane. So we're doing a deep dive into our thoughts, into our memories here. And what we're getting is a lot of clarity. We're coming to some kind of ending point, some kind of answer to some of the questions that we've been asking ourselves. We are coming up with some kind of solution to some of the problems that we have identified that we've been highly focused on being able to resolve. This is putting us at a really sweet spot of being able to have a mental perspective, a mental understanding that puts us ahead of the game. This is like we are able to emotionally detach for just a second to have this aha moment that is totally going to change the game for us. Things are clicking. Puzzle pieces are snapping together. This is coming with a huge amount of insight of piecing together why certain things had to happen to us, because this is, of course, the spiritual life lesson that we're in, and we have to really learn this lesson. We have to absorb it. We have to integrate it if we stand a chance in hell of actually moving on to the next level. And because Pluto is about to go direct, because we are about to have a full moon in Aries, because we are about to see all of these major heavy hitting planets come out of a retrograde, go direct, we're going to see huge amounts of karma in play. Why? Because Saturn's going direct at the end of the month, right before we have this freaking eclipse season that is absolutely going to rearrange our lives in a way that is going to align us with our mission, with our purpose that maybe we failed to align ourselves on. The universe is going to sort us out. So now we are having a whole different level of awareness, a whole different level of understanding. This is going to help us not only have an aha moment and be empowered in our mental plane, making peace with some of the situations that have transpired, focusing on the silver linings of our experience, but this also gives us an element where we're able to put the blinders on so that we can have tunnel vision on what it is that actually needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed, needs to be resolved, so that we can essentially start strategizing a plan in order for us to actually know what it is that we need to pour our energy into once Pluto actually goes direct. Now, here's the thing. This is revealing truths that may have been there the whole time that we just were not ready to accept. This is going to reveal truths within ourselves, truths within our lives, our relationships. This is essentially where Mercury had been retrograde, not able to focus in on what was actually happening. And therefore we were looking at things not for the way that they actually were, but for the way that we had hoped or wished that they would be. And that in itself is a lie and a delusion of self. And now, for some reason, because we are sorting through all that has transpired, we are seeing things emerge. We are seeing the truth straight up in our face. Now, let me just throw in here. We had Mercury and Pluto do this little dance before Mercury actually went retrograde. So this happened at the end of August. And then when Mercury actually went retrograde, we had Mercury and Pluto make this aspect again. And this was probably revealing more of a level of awareness and truth within ourselves because of that retrograde energy, and kind of piecing together some past situations in order to formulate a new perception and understanding on what went on. But now we have Mercury direct. All kinds of things have taken place in this past month. It's been a very challenging month, I would say. And now that Pluto is preparing to go direct, there's an empowerment here in the mental plane of understanding, of really just seeing where struggles were needed in order to push us into our power. So because we're seeing a new level of truth, a new level of just understanding, a new level, I'm going to say a new area of the puzzle pieces coming together and kind of revealing a little bit clearer of a vision that we're actually trying to piece together, this gives us a sense of control and power that we haven't felt in a very, very long time. And, this is like we've been putting our detective hat on. We've been trying to look for the clues, and now the clues are coming together, and we just made a major break in the case, so to speak. And because of this, now we're able to let go a lot of the obsessive thinking that we've had, a lot of the negative narratives that we've had, a lot of the disempowered information, disempowered perspectives and understandings that we've had, because this particular part of the puzzle has now been solved. So this is a very strong aspect, likely creating a lot of pressure in the crown. Again, listen to the ascension forecast for this week for the physical symptoms of the energy shifts that are currently taking place. But you best believe this is like a aha moment that changes our inner realm energy, because it makes sense now. Things make sense to the point where we're able to actually process it in such a way where we're making peace with certain aspects, even if we don't agree with them, doesn't matter. We have insight, we're enlightened, we have a new awareness. And because of that, not only is that something to celebrate, but now we can actually kind of move into the inner realm processing of what it is that we no longer have to be fixated on, what it is we no longer have to obsess about, what it is that we no longer have to think about, because we can let certain aspects of this mental process actually go.